Yeah. My first impression of Val was that he was just like any other Asian guy, to be perfectly honest. There wasn't really anything extraordinary about him. He was poorly dressed, seemed incredibly nerdy, didn't really seem to have much of a personality of his own. And I think that's why we stayed friends for as long as we did, until I finally took the time to get to know him better.
So I met Lyn at Santa Clara University, and we were both members of the Vietnamese Student Association. Okay, that's it? Okay. How long do you want, is there like a length you want the answers to be? After, I'd known Lyn for a while before we got together. And while and we were friends before she went away for a study abroad trip to London. And then after she came back, I got to know her better and spend more time with her. And that's when I began to think that, oh, I might have feelings for her that are more than just a friend.
I think how it transitioned from us just being friends to me seeing him in a different light was just, I was going through some times in my life where I needed some help, and he had the knowledge to help me get through it. And so he was the one who taught me how to play piano, which I've always wanted to learn, but I unfortunately never had Asian parents who made me do it. So it was just sort of like this personal dream of mine, and he actually planned out a schedule every week to help me play the piano.
When she came back from London from her study abroad trip, we just spent a lot of time together. I taught her piano, and I ended up spending a lot more time just around her in general, instead more than just getting dinner and hanging out at club events. I was around her around her dorm room, around her friends, helped her with a lot of moving things. So being able to be a part of different aspects of her life led me to see her in a more than friendly light.
He proposed to me by taking us back to the school of which we met, so Santa Clara University. We went there, and I had this feeling that he was going to propose because he is not good at keeping secrets, and it was just a little bit too obvious that he was going to do it then. But I went along. I went along with it, and I just, accepted that there was not going to be an element of surprise, but that's okay because everything else about the proposal was really sweet.
She actually did pretty well. She went along with, she kind of played along with it and kind of let me do whatever I was going to do, even though she probably had an idea of what was going on. She was pretty happy. She ended up being pretty happy, and she felt like it was a pretty, I guess, sweet thing to do, or
he took me to specific places on campus that meant a lot to us. So the Multicultural Center, which is where he joined VSA and where we had our club meetings, that was one of the points on campus. And then another point was one of the dorms of which we lived in, Casa. And then eventually to the church. And at each area, he read a chapter of our love story. And by the time he finally got to the church,
I ended up proposing to her by asking her if she would write the rest of the story with me, and then giving her the ring.
And of course I said yes. So, English teacher, love stories, of course. And so that's a perfect way to do it for this gal. Yeah.
She's a very optimistic person. She's very caring, probably more mature and responsible than I am, which is probably a good thing for me because I'm not a particularly mature or responsible person. And she has a very positive, I guess, aura around her, and I like being a part of that. Makes me happier, it makes me a better person, I think, or it makes me strive towards being a better person when I'm with her.
My favorite things about Val is his honesty, partly because I feel like we live in a generation where everything is easily fabricated. If you want to look like you have this lavish lifestyle, you can have that through social media, whether or not it's true. And I feel like it's very rare to meet someone who is unapologetically just himself, honest at all times. And he's very useful. So my love language is acts of service. And so the fact that he knows when to come in and help me, even if I didn't realize at the time that I needed help means a lot.
She always makes me clean things like immediately instead of being like waiting whenever I would normally do it. So if I like spill something or I leave something there, normally I would just leave it there until like I do something else where I would go and clean it to like maximize like the time I'm spending cleaning. But she generally pushes and prods me to go and clean stuff immediately, which is probably the only thing that she does that bothers me. She probably has more about me though.
So where do I start? No, just kidding. I do. He spends a lot on money. Too much money. He has a bigger wardrobe than me. So I'm a neat freak, very much a neat freak. He knows that. And one time we were coming back from a really long day out in New York City. It was probably 16 degrees out there at that time. And I had just finished taking a shower, and then I came back to the bed being made. And like the fact that he did that without me asking him to do that, honestly, was like probably one of those moments where you're like, he's the one. It's such a small thing, but it meant so much to me, because like I know that him making the bed means nothing to him, but for me it means everything, I guess. I think the only message that I can think of from the top of my head right now is that the past 7 years have been amazing. I can't have imagined my life to have been with a better person, and I'm really sorry. I'm really thankful to have found him. You. Sorry.